Azerbaijan's armed forces maintain their readiness. The ongoing cold conflict with Armenia could turn hot at any moment.
Azərbaycan bayrağı azadlıq meydanına getiriləcək və hərbi paradda göstəriləcək.
Azerbaijan and Armenia fought one another from 1988 to 1994. 50,000 soldiers were killed, and more than 1 million civilians were driven from their homes. A ceasefire was eventually signed, but when the dust settled, Armenia had occupied the enclave of Karabakh, which makes up 30% of Azerbaijan's territory.
The Nagorno-Karabakh and territories around the Nagorno-Karabakh are occupied territories, but not disputed territories.
One night, at the height of the war, stands out as a truly dark moment in Azerbaijan's history. A massacre took place in the village of Khojaly. Armenian forces killed more than 600 people there. Survivors are still haunted by the memories of the massacre.
I lost all my relatives, my grandfather, my aunt, my 2 cousins. All my close relatives were killed that night.
And today, with support from longtime ally Turkey, Azerbaijani officials have promised the past will never repeat itself.
We enjoy good cooperation with Turkey. It's a brotherly nation. We conduct a number of exercises annually at all levels.
While the dispute between Azerbaijan and Armenia has not degenerated again into outright war, fighting has broken out over the years. Azerbaijan came out on top in those skirmishes as a result of having significantly increased investment in its armed forces. The military believes the balance of power on the battlefield now lies in its favor. And Azerbaijan's armed forces have a long history of military cooperation with Turkey. In 1918, the Ottoman Empire dispatched an expeditionary army to Baku and helped liberate Azerbaijan from Bolshevik and British forces. The sacrifices made by the Ottoman soldiers are remembered with a monument in the center of Azerbaijan's capital. Empires come and go, and for thousands of years, Baku has been at the crossroads of various invading armies. From the Russian Empire to the Soviet era, Azerbaijan as a country has managed to survive the test of time. The competition between Azerbaijan and Armenia for land goes back centuries. Historians say Armenia's modern territorial claims are a product of imperial designs that go back to the days of the Russian Tsars. Meanwhile, the Armenians created a rump state in Karabakh, which they call Artsakh. It is not recognized by the United Nations. Azerbaijan views it as illegitimate, and Armenia's insistence on gaining international recognition of occupied Karabakh remains a major point of contention. Turkey says it will not normalize ties with Armenia until its neighbor reaches a deal with Azerbaijan on Karabakh. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has backed Azerbaijan on the international stage and reassured its president, Ilham Aliyev, that the 2 countries will remain strategic allies. But is peace attainable? Can Azerbaijan and Armenia end their hostilities and reach an understanding? There have been some recent signs of a thaw. The 2 countries' leaders recently met at a conference hosted by Russia. But questions remain over whether justice can ever be done for victims of past atrocities. Thomas Goltz authored an influential book on the conflict and was among the first Western journalists to cover the Karabakh War.
Is it possible to come to some sort of closure to this conflict between the Armenians and the Azerbaijanis? Yes, of course, it is theoretically possible. But at this point, I think that the first steps really have to come from the Armenian side to admit to certain atrocities that happened during the war. In the former Yugoslavia, there have been trials about war criminals for Srebrenica and elsewhere in Bosnia and also Croatia. This has not happened in this conflict to date.
No courts have been established, and peace talks haven't progressed just yet, leaving Azerbaijanis and Armenians to wonder whether old wounds can ever heal. Oubai Shahbandar, Baku, Azerbaijan, Straight Talk.